Morning everybody, welcome to the first viol playing video of 2021. I thought we might need something to cheer ourselves up in the new lockdown, so here is some more Ortiz. This is Recercada Tercera, the third Recercada on the repeated ground basses. This one has been transposed for the tenor. My tenor is wearing his particularly sporting pink knitted hat because it's cold. As ever, there is a link to the copy that I'm playing from in the section underneath the video, so let's see where we get. Two flats. Sorry, that was a bit of a mean start to the new year. When you see two flats, my automatic assumption is that I'm going to need to spend quite a lot of time in half position, B flats and E flats back on the first fret. But having said that, actually right in the very first bar, I want that first D on a 4. So just have in mind that you're likely to spend quite a lot of this piece in half position because of the flats. But if we do that at the very start, it's just not very elegant. So we'll start in first position, reaching back, and let's see where we get. Stop there a second. So first position reaching backwards, so we can put a 4 on that first D, but then open string to get ourselves up here, and then I think I would just be properly in half position. Lots and lots of places in this piece where there's an octave leap, or an octave and some in some cases. And as ever, really crucial that you leave down the finger on the note that you are leaving behind. So in this case, 3 on the top B flat does not come off while you find the bottom one. But here, let's go 1, 2, 4 again to reach the D. And back in half position. So that's the fingering. What about the bowing? I started at the tip and I started on a forward bow. The only note that worries me in there is this one. I want it to be quite light, the last minim of bar 3, but it comes on a forward bow. I don't think it's worth correcting and tucking and sorting things out because it comes out well in the long run, but I think you have to watch it. These just don't need to be too much like hard work, so just keep an eye that that doesn't stick out. And the bowing works really nicely here. Here we are at the tip for the crotchets. So it comes out really well, I think, if you start on a forward bow and you just bow it through, but watch that minim at the end of bar 3. Let's try it together, shall we? Counting in minims. 1, 2, 3. Let's keep going. Stop there for a second. I do like this one. It's got a sort of slightly laid back cheeriness to it. You've got to watch the end of the ground each time. There's only 2 beats in a bar, and it's very easy to kind of settle into that 3 time and then just trip yourself up on the beats that are the bars that have only got 2 beats in them. So just look out for that. This is bar 9, the first duple time bar, and I think it comes on a back bow. And I think that's all right. because then its friend in the next bar comes forward. And so does this. Lots of these where, bowing wise, you can get rid of the last note and then just give a bit of front to the ones that start new. Yeah, does that make sense? Maybe exaggerating it a little bit there, but you get the idea that all this offbeat and just gently, rhythmically quirky, I think. Fingering wise, from the same place, half position, but by the time we get to the bottom, I really want a 2 on that bottom B flat, because we're going to hold it down while we do the octave and a bit up here, and if you take that finger off, that note's just going to stop dead, and you have a long way to go, so you need to leave it early with the bow. But you have to leave that finger down to keep the sound resonating. I find that quite a stretch with a 3 on the bottom and a 4 at the top. It's possible, so if you want to stay in half position, you can do that and hold the 3 down at the bottom and stick a 4 on the F at the top. I just think it's safer for it to be 2 at the bottom, 3 at the top. Here, again, 2, 3 if you prefer, 3, 4 if you're more comfortable. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you don't hop whichever finger you're using. So whichever position you come out in bar 13, between the C and the F, you have to chordal finger that either with 2 and a 3 or 3 and 4. This is going on from the end of 13. Now I'm in half position. There's another octave leap. Hold the 1 down on the bottom B flat. I would have loads of these marked, you know, with the number of the finger and the horizontal line that says hold this finger down, keep it down, because otherwise the temptation is to have everything flapping about in the air and you lose such a lot of the resonance of the instrument. So that's the octave leap in 14. I like this G on a 4. Personal taste, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that here, the C to the F, you chordal finger, you do not hop. With either, again, your 2 and your 3 if you're in first position, or if you're in half, 3 and 4, it's fine, whichever. Let's play together from the middle of bar 9. It will start on a back bow. Middle of bar 9, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. I suggest we do that again because there's a lot to think about in there. There's a lot of fingering decisions to make, and then there's a lot of phrasing where you do need to be getting rid of notes at the ends there so that you can articulate the next one. So in that first falling scale, I have no pressure at all on that first B flat, absolutely nothing. The bow is just floating on the string. But for the one that's tied across the bar line, I'm properly connected to the string. So you need time to sort that out. Nothing, something. Nothing, but hold it down. Something at the start of this. So we'll play it again, shall we? Just because there's lots to think about. This is the middle of bar 9, starting on a back bow in half position. 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. Let it go. And this. And this one. again this time. Stop there. I like this one, it's just sort of out for a walk. I don't know whether you spotted, but in 19, at the start of that ground, we come out with a back bow on the first crotchet of the bar, which is kind of unfortunate because it puts us backwards for the entire set of divisions. So I just tucked, I put 2 back bows and hoped that no one would notice. Just do it subtly, don't make a big separation between them. And then you're all right for the rest of the whole thing. Fingering wise, we're in half position to start with. But here, look ahead, see the C coming, so you need to move up. First position. We could come back again here. Now 26, there's a few choices in here. I'll tell you what I settled on, but there are other possibilities. I played on the F string and went 1, 3, 4. Then the open A string, 1, 2, 4. And a 4 for this F. It would be possible to start that bar in half position, cross over and come back. Depends a little bit on how much you like the B flat that's on your F string and whether you really prefer the sound of the B flat that's back here and whether or not you think it matters in that bar. So try a few things out, but what I settled on was I was in first position in 26, all on the F string, then the next 4, all on the A string, reaching 2, 4, first position, so that this F can come under my 4th finger, and then I arrive on the bottom B flat on a 2 because look, it's that same octave and a bit leap that we had a bit further back. It comes several times. I much prefer it to be 2 and 3. Shall we go? Let's go from 18, so we get the end of this one, and we can practice putting our very subtle tuck in bar 19. This is 18 coming up, so we've got 2, 3. So we talked about which way to bow it, we talked about which kind of fingering to use. The risk in sections like this is that it's bars and bars and bars of continuous crotchets. If you're not careful, it's very, very boring. So all I'm doing is varying the amount of bow that I'm using per crotchet, and if a scale is rising, I'm intentionally using more bow per note so that it's got some sense of direction. The other decision you've got to make in here is for the last crotchet of 20, where do you think that last crotchet belongs? It's not a trick question, you just need to have decided. So if 19 goes, and then 20 is a copy, that last crotchet in 20 is a nothing note, isn't it? And it's slightly inconvenient because it's a whole octave away from the note before it. You could make a slightly different decision. Do 19 as an entity on its own. Start 20 as though it's going to copy. But actually it doesn't, it just goes straight up. And the last B flat could belong to this. At the the start of that next scale. I don't think there's a right or wrong way of reading that. One is definitely more convenient than the other. It's definitely easier to make this bottom one belong to the next one than it is to make it fall away from there. Try both. Make a decision just so that that poor little crotchet at the end of 20 knows where it belongs. This is 19 once more together, and we'll go on this time when we get to the next ground. 19, 2, 3. Hold this down. Very soporific, this one, very hypnotic. The first note obviously belongs to the end of the previous thing. And then I think we get... And then... And then... And then... And that one leads us into the next bit. So I'm thinking effectively sort of like 2 upbeats into the interval that falls by the 4th. That one by a 3rd. Going through all the way to there. Fingering wise, at the beginning we've got that octave and a bit, and we said we would keep the 2 down at the bottom. You can bar this, then it's just a matter of personal taste as to whether or not you go for the top string. Perfectly okay to do so. Do you prefer a 4? I think I played a 4 for each of those. It's quite a stretch. Bar this, and again make your choice about the 4 or the open string. Chordal fingering here between the C and the F. And a really light B flat at the bottom of that scale. Let's do that together from 28. The first note is a nothing, but we're going to practice it because it's a slightly awkward leap. 28, 2, 3. Let's keep going. Surprise, wasn't it, after the laid backness of the previous one. This is 37, starting from the crotchets. They come out on a forward bow, which is nice and convenient. Here, got to be in first position, otherwise you won't reach that C. That's in 40. But you need to come back here, so we're back in half. And then here I would go 1-1 between the A and the B flat. So then 2-4 to reach the top fret. 1-4. 1-2. and then here we are back in first position. Did you get that? That's 42. We're in half position. 1-1. Shift on the semitone. 4-1. 4-1. 2. And here I would have a 3 on this B flat, because I'm going to want my 2 for the F in 45. That's the fingering. I made one correction in the bowing as well. In 40, if you bow this out, everything is backwards for the whole of the rest of that section, and it's a bit of a shame. So I think on the big leaps are great places to disguise corrections in the bowing. I would start the quavers on another forward bow, and I think I wouldn't panic and try and get back to the tip for it. I'd start them wherever you happen to be and just work your way back so that the crotchets come in a good part of the bow so that you're not stuck in the middle. And that's the only bowing correction I would make in there, I think. So this is 37. 37, starting from where the crotchets are, and 1. Let's go on. And we'll stop there just for a second, because again there's quite a lot to think about, isn't there? So in 46, the final tied note of 46 is going to come on a forward bow, and we'll be in half position. But here, see this coming in 50, and arrange to be in first position before you get there, so that the bottom B flat has a 2 on it, and you can hold it while you reach the F at the top. And then we're in half position. But again, look ahead, see this coming, 2 on the B flat at the bottom. Here we are back in half position. And I would just stay there, I think. Bowing is slightly inconvenient in here. Nice to have a forward bow at the beginning of it. So far so good. This is awkward. I think there's time in here, and I didn't do it before, but there is time to put another forward bow on the second note of 52. And it sorts you out for the rest of that phrase. So we're going, and the bottom note is such a little one that you shouldn't, in an ideal world, have used loads of bow. So you're not going to be miles through. So putting another forward on the top, I don't think it's going to get you into the awkward bit of the bow. Let's try that out. So we'll go from 46, from the last note of the bar. We're on a forward bow, and I think we're in half position. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1. Going on. A few nitty bits of fingering to look at in that last section. This is from 54. Oh look, here it comes again. 2 on the bottom, hold it down, 3 on the top. Hold the 1 at the bottom of that B flat octave. I think I'd go for an open string here. There's something nice about having the open G in 56. Must be in first position here to reach for C. You could do a few things, couldn't you? 58 and 59. Essentially, what you want in 59 is to not cross to the top string for that 1 quaver G. So in 59, you have to finger that on the way up, the D, the E flat with a 1, F with a 2, G with a 4. What you do just before it is kind of up to you. We're in first position, aren't we, from the top C? Why don't you just reach back for the F? And then we haven't gone anywhere, so we're in first position rather than half. That's going to be particularly convenient when we get to bar 60. And what I've settled on here, fingering wise, and again there are options, you have to choose and write them in, otherwise you'll tie yourself in all sorts of knots. So in 60, I'm in first position, and here I've gone 1, 3, 4, and used the B flat on the F string. Still the B flat on the F string, cross over for the C, 4 on the D, and now I've gone for the open D string and I've come back into half position. Until the next bar, when I've gone back into first and kept all of that on the F string. I'll just talk you through that again. There is definitely more than one way of fingering this, so try a few things out and decide what suits you best. But this is what I've settled on. This is the beginning of 60 and I'm in first position. Still in first position, using the B flat on the F string. On the second D in 61, I've used an open string, gone back to half position and stayed there for the rest of the bar. The next bar, first position, all 4 of those quavers on the F string, then an open A, but with 2, 4, so that I'm not crossing the string for that 1 D quaver. And now I'm in first with a 4 on this F. And the B flat at the bottom. It's just a little bit knotty. And if you don't choose and write some fingering in, you'll end up doing that thing where you're in first position but you run out of 1 finger, or you can't quite decide whether you were going to play your B flat up here or back here, and then you miss the C because you just haven't quite decided how you're approaching it. So try some things, write them in, practice it, and do what you've written. Let's go back to the beginning of that section. That's bar 54, and the second crotchet is the beginning of the phrase, isn't it? I quite like a variable length on the 3 repeated crotchets, and a light destination for where they're going to, rather than I like to be a bit elegant about the one that we're moving towards. So here, but then this time, that B flat ought to be a nothing. But instead, it marks the start of that run of quavers. So by throwing the previous ones away, I think that makes a nice contrast. So this is from 54. from the second crotchet of the bar. Looking to hold our fingers down in 55 and looking to not hammer the first beat of the bar. Here we go, 54 and 1. Might just take a little bit of time to sort those last few bars out. So just spend some time sorting out the fingering in there. And then let's play it through, shall we? I've recorded the ground for us to play along to. It's going to give you 4 whole bars of introduction and then that funny little 2-beat bar at the end before we start. I'll play the Recercada with you. Here it comes.